The time is 10:54 a.m. Good morning. The news headline. President Muhammadu Buhari. Did the closure of borders by Buhari help in saving Nigeria from trouble? The news in full. President Muhammadu Buhari, at a bilateral meeting with Mark Rutte, Prime Minister of the Netherlands in New York, says that Nigeria would have been in serious trouble if he did not close the borders at the times he did. On the economy, the president said that Nigeria took decisions to shut the borders, eat what we grow, and curb smuggling, noting that if that had not been done, we would have been in serious trouble by now. And the writer is asking that, however, did the closure of borders by Buhari help in saving Nigeria from trouble at all? And the writer says that he thinks that the closing of borders by Buhari was actually a smart move, because the closure of borders reduced the rate of smuggling into the country. The closing of borders of Nigeria by Buhari also made Nigerians realize that they could feed themselves without the help of other countries. And finally, Muhammadu Buhari has done well as president, and his moves to close border was actually a smart one that has actually paid off, the writer says. And we know that for the president actually met with is actually at the United Nations General Assembly 76th session, a meeting to discuss about the progressive stance of all nations across the world. And he actually met a Dutch queen there who is actually appealing to that she should actually invest in Nigeria and cooperate with them and the likes like that. And he was actually talking to the Dutch queen, illustrating the Queen of Netherlands, illustrating how he had helped Nigeria survive a whole lot of traumas, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic, and why they had to borrow and the likes like that. Then he made a particular point which this writer is actually addressing to, talking about closing of borders, saying that Nigeria would have been in serious trouble if he didn't close the borders. That he did that so that Nigerians can actually do more of feeding themselves agriculture and them not relying on neighboring countries to survive. And the writer is of the opinion that this was actually a smart move by President Muhammadu Buhari, because if not for that, there wouldn't have been reduced rates of smuggling into the country, and Nigerians wouldn't have known that they can actually feed themselves. And this was few things among what President Muhammadu Buhari has actually been discussing at the United Nations General Assembly. Also, there are two things specifically that were said by President Muhammadu Buhari that has been checked into. And President Muhammadu Buhari has asked these world leaders to consider the country to have outright cancellation of the Nigeria's debt. He says that this could be a great relief for President Muhammadu Buhari, considering that the fact that there are pending projects that Buhari needs to channel the money to. He would rather use the money, he will use the money to pay the debts to make Nigeria better if the world leaders agrees to cancel the debt. So therefore, he has begged them that they should cancel the debt so that the country can actually have time to focus on many more things that would alleviate poverty in the country. Also, President Muhammadu Buhari has promised the UN that he is going to eliminate Boko Haram. He says that there is going to be a tight war between the Nigerian government and the Boko Haram, and it seems that because he has said this before the United Nations, Buhari would always want to fulfill this promise so that they would actually take him serious and see him as somebody with integrity. And this could actually make the security situation in Nigeria better than it is presently, because this means that there will be a tight war between the Nigerian government and Boko Haram in the bid to prove President Muhammadu Buhari's integrity. Africa's biggest economy is working on a transition to a low-carbon economy in line with achieving the Paris Climate Agreement and Sustainable Development Goals. In these circumstances, we intend to build a climate-resilient economy that effectively aligns with the SDGs and that has great potentials to unlock the full opportunities in different sectors of the economy, while protecting the resources for present and future generations. I know in several ways this is also a familiar story in many countries, he added. And therefore, at home, that is Nigeria, the Senate President Lawan has given the committee 1 week to consider President Muhammadu Buhari's foreign loan. Ahmad Lawan referred at the request of the President Muhammadu Buhari to borrow a $4.54 billion, 710 million euros and $125 million external loan to the Committee on Foreign and Local Debt, he asked the chairman of the committee, Senator Clifford Odia, to work on the request and submit its report next Tuesday. Lawan's action followed a motion by the Senate leader Yahya Abdullahi, seconded by the minority leader Iyinaya Abaribe. The Senate had received a formal request from the President last week to consider and approve an external loan to fund projects captured under the 2018 to 2021 borrowing plan. In the letter, President Muhammadu Buhari said that the projects listed in the 2018 to 2021 federal government borrowing plan were to be financed through sovereign loans from the World Bank, French Development Agency, China Exim Bank, International Fund for Agricultural Development, Credit Suisse Group, and Standard Chartered Export and Credits in total sum of $4 billion and also 710 billion euros and a grant of $125 million. Therefore, he said that the amount will be used to fund federal and state government projects across key sectors such as infrastructure, health, agriculture, and food. It also includes security, energy, education, and human capital development and COVID-19 response efforts. The letter had read, "I write in respect of the above subject to submit the attached addendum to the proposed 2018 to 2021 Federal Government External Borrowing Rolling Plan for the consideration and concurrent approval of the Senate for same to become effective. The Senate President may wish to recall that I earlier transmitted a request on the proposed 2018 to 2020 Federal Government External Borrowing Plan for the concurrent approval of the Senate in May 2021. However, in view of other emerging needs and to ensure that all critical projects approved by the Federal Executive Council as of June 2021 are incorporated, I hereby forward an addendum to the proposed borrowing plan. The project listed in the addendum to the 2018 to 2021 Federal Government External Borrowing Plan are to be financed through sovereign loans from the World Bank and some other French and China Exim Bank. And the Senate is kindly invited to note that the projects and programs in the borrowing plan were selected based on positive technical economic evaluations and contribution they will make to the socio-economic development of the country, including employment generation and poverty reduction, as well as protection of most vulnerable and very poor segments of the Nigerian sector. And the analysis is quite simple, that sequel to the borrowing plan of President Muhammadu Buhari that he has written to the Senate to borrow some money again, given that the request will be given kind consideration and concurrent approval by the Senate for the projects that have been listed, for education, poverty alleviation, and the likes like that, in addendum to the 2018 to 2021 Federal Government External Borrowing Plan. And therefore, President Muhammadu Buhari, who is actually at the New York for the United Nations General Assembly, has also begged the United Nations to cancel the current debt of the country facing challenges due to the COVID-19 and even before the COVID-19 pandemic, saying that there is an urgent need to consider expansion and extension of the debt service suspension initiative to include all least developed countries and small island developing states facing both fiscal and liquidity challenges, saying that in addition, a review of the eligibility criteria for debt suspension should be including outright cancellation, and this is needed for countries that are facing the most severe challenges. Thanks for listening. Good morning.